All right, biology students, listen up. Let's stop just studying for the ICSE biology exam, reading the textbook cover to cover. No, today we're going to crack its code. I'm talking about a master plan, a real strategic guide so you don't just pass, but you absolutely nail it. So let's get right into it.
Seriously, just imagine this for a second. You walk into that exam hall, and instead of that feeling of dread, that anxiety, you feel confident, like really confident. Why? Because you basically know what's coming. That's our goal today. We're going to shift you from just working hard to working smart.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll crack the exam code itself. Then we're doing a deep dive into two super important questions from Section B, Question 5 and Question 6. And stick around because we're going to finish with your 2026 exam blueprint.
Okay, let's kick things off with our first deep dive. Question 5. I want you to think of this question as the human homeostasis hub. It's all about how our bodies keep everything in balance. And trust me, when you look closely, you'll see the exam board has some, very predictable patterns here.
Now check this out. This donut chart, this is the code right here. A whopping 70%, yeah, you heard that right, 70% of Question 5 comes from just one chapter, the excretory system. This is probably the single most important thing you'll hear today. Sure, the other chapters pop up, but mastering the kidney and the nephron, that's your #1 job for this question. Period. So, okay, within those chapters, what are the hot topics? Well, it's these right here. You've got to know the nephron structure like the back of your hand. Seriously, you should be able to label it in your sleep. You need to get your head around endocrine disorders. We're talking goiter, diabetes, the usual suspects. And yep, they love those diagrams on contraception, so know your vasectomy from your tubectomy. This is your high priority checklist for Q5.
All right, time for a little practice run. This is an absolute classic, a super common question. Why do the examiners love it so much? Because it gets right to the heart of how the kidney works. So take a second, think about it. Got the answer in your head?
And here it is, the perfect ICSE approved answer that'll get you full marks every time. The magic words are hydrostatic pressure, and ultrafiltration. You have to use that exact phrasing. It tells the examiner, hey, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, let's try another one. This one pops up all the time from the reproductive system chapter. It sounds simple, right? But you know the ICSE? They're not looking for a simple answer. They want a specific scientific function. So what is it? Boom. The key here isn't just saying it keeps things cool. You have to use the word thermoregulator, and you have to mention that specific 2 to 3 degrees Celsius temperature difference. That little bit of detail, that's what takes your answer from okay to full marks. All right, let's switch gears and move on to Question 6. Now, if Question 5 was all about organs and systems, I want you to think of Question 6 as the conceptual logic hub. This is where they test your understanding of the big ideas, the principles, the how and why of biology. So Question 6 pretty much always stands on these 4 pillars. Genetics is the big one, it's almost always the main event, but you'll also see questions about the nervous system, a little bit on plant hormones, and usually a dash of human evolution thrown in. This is your study framework for Question 6 right here. And if we drill down even further, these are the topics that just keep showing up. You absolutely 100% have to master Mendel's laws and know how to nail a monohybrid cross. And for the brain, it's all about the cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla know their jobs. Oh, and don't forget the role of auxins in phototropism. That's a classic. Okay, another quick drill for this section. This is a super common one marker. So how would you define mutation in one single perfect sentence? Go on, give it a shot. And there you have it. This is exactly what they're looking for. The 2 magic words are sudden and heritable. If you miss one of those, you're probably not getting the full mark. It's all about being that precise. Now, let's look at an application question. This is where they connect a bit of biology, the cerebellum, to a real-world example. So why is this part of the brain so incredibly important for, say, an athlete, a gymnast, or a dancer? Exactly. The perfect answer links the cerebellum to its 2 key jobs for an athlete, maintaining body balance and coordinating muscular activities. See, this shows you don't just know the name of the part, you actually understand what it does. Okay, everybody, deep breath. This is the moment you've been waiting for. We've crunched the data, analyzed the trends, and even used some AI to look at the 2026 specimen paper, and now we can build a very, very likely blueprint for your exam. This is your secret weapon. So for question 5, our prediction points to these 5 things. Get ready for a diagram where you'll have to spot the ureter and explain how it's different from the urethra. Next up, a comparison question. Then a classic clinical scenario, probably about the thyroid. And finally, expect a diagram of a sperm cell where you'll need to label the acrosome. It's a real mix, identifying, comparing, and applying.
And speaking of that comparison question, this is the key thing to remember. It's simple, really. The renal artery brings the dirty blood in, so it's high in urea. The renal vein takes the clean blood out, so it's low in urea. Just lock that fundamental difference in your brain. Okay, on to question 6. The big trend here is differentiate and identify. So you're probably going to see a quick definition from genetics, something like the law of dominance. Expect a question about phototropism and auxins, then almost certainly a comparison of different parts of the brain, and maybe an identification question about the ear.
For that brain comparison, it really boils down to this. The cerebrum, that's your thinking cap. It's for memory, thought, intelligence. The cerebellum, that's all about movement, balance, coordination. Think of it that way, and you'll never mix them up.
And what about that evolution chapter? We'll be ready for a question on cranial capacities. And for us, for Homo sapiens, there's one number you just have to memorize, 1450 cc. Got it? 1450 cc. Just burn that number into your memory.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? It's this: we need to change how you study. This isn't about blindly memorizing the whole textbook anymore. No way. It's about being strategic. It's about seeing the patterns, focusing on the topics that give you the most marks, and practicing the exact style of answers that the examiners want to see.
So, there you have it. We've cracked the code, we've seen the patterns, and we've even looked into the future. You literally have a blueprint for success right in front of you. So the final question isn't for me to answer, it's for you. Now that you have this blueprint, what are you going to do with it? How will you study differently?